You know the hardest part about being in the NFL? The hardest part is being in the draft. You know why? Because if you're picked in that first round, just understand how much pressure you're about to be under. It's not just from the coaches, it's from the teams, it's from the fans, it's from the players, it's from everybody. And if you're picked in that first round, that franchise is going to set you so high on the pedestal that it's going to be so hard to come down. So whenever you mess up, everybody will know. Just imagine, whatever season you get picked at the first round, in the first round, understand that you are being watched by everybody. Your every movement is being watched. As soon as you mess up, they're going to say you're a bust. It don't matter if it's early in the season. It don't matter if it's preseason. They don't care. They don't care if it's off season. People are ready to talk trash. Like, they feel as though because you've been picked first overall, you are the best in the world. And I don't understand it, but it just happens. And for a person like Emanuel Forbes last season, he failed to live up to that first overall pick. And honestly, I would even say that Quan Martin, who got picked a pick after him, was even better than him. And one reason I say that, because he took advantage of the opportunities he was given. And he had 2 interceptions the whole entire season versus Emanuel Forbes 1 interception. And of course, Emanuel Forbes had a lot of pass deflections, but still, when you look at the games and you look at how many tackles Emanuel Forbes missed, how he lost his confidence, and that's one thing about being a first overall pick. You start to believe you are better than everybody else. And that's one thing that can really make you really not perform as well. Because as soon as something happens and you have that, oh my goodness, I'm really not the best, or I'm at the bottom again. When you have that moment, that reality check, you start to realize, like, whoa, I'm not really as good as I thought I was, and I still got some work to do. And that, when you've been putting yourself on this pedestal of, I'm a first round pick, I gotta believe I'm a first round pick, I'm the best, and then you forget that you're playing in the NFL, you're playing in a league where everybody was the best in their college career. Everybody, most people were good, picked in a good round. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was looked at as you're the best at one moment in time. But when you have to humble yourself and you have to have that reality check and that slap in the face, that's one of the moments where it can be very devastating and it can be hard to come back up after you have fallen in your first year, like Emanuel Forbes. And he was a huge disappointment. And this year, hopefully he got his confidence back. And we understand that he lost his confidence. It was right after that very first Eagles game. And A.J. Brown murdered him. It was terrible. And that took some time for him to really get his confidence back. You can see later in the season that he got a little bit more confident. But it's going to be a new season for him. And hopefully with Dan Quinn, Joe Witt Jr., and the new defense that we have, it can give him some more confidence. The new leaders on the team that we have, and the fact that he'll have other veterans there to help him. You know, Michael Davis, he'll have him there. He'll have Noah Igbenogany there, to somebody who was a first round pick and who has been in the league for 4 years but never had that chance again to really shine. He can help Emanuel Forbes understand how it feels to be a first overall pick and not really do your best. And it's not because you're not good, but it's because you've had this opportunity and it never showed up for you in certain areas, and teams didn't call on you. But this year, we have opportunity to get somebody in the first round, and hopefully they live up to that first round draft pick. Hopefully Jaden Daniels live up to it, or Drake May, whoever we decide to get, J.J. McCartney, even though I don't feel like we should get anybody else but Jaden Daniels, seeing as though we can't get Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams seems like he's going to the Bears. And this year, right after the draft ends, we have to pick up the 5th-year option for Jamin Davis. And seeing as though we have a new defensive group coming in, some could say that we don't feel as though Jamin Davis has put forth his best effort in these last 3 years with the team. We can feel as though he hasn't lived up to a first-round draft pick because he hasn't really shown us what it is that he can do. Usually when you think of a middle linebacker, you think of Ray Lewis, you think of London Fletcher, you think of the best of the best, right? The guys who have had 100-plus tackle seasons and, really gone to the Pro Bowl many times, and you think of that comes to mind. A lot of tackles is what comes to mind. And when we look at Jamin Davis, it's just not it. He's barely stayed afloat or got even close to 100 tackles every season. And, he's been very underwhelming, as playing under Jack Del Rio these last 3 seasons. But some could say it could have been Jack Del Rio. Some could say they didn't put him in the best fit possible, especially coming out of the draft. They seen him as a middle linebacker, but he wasn't that. And he was more so an outside linebacker, and he performed very well at that position. But now that we have Dan Quinn here, and he, over the last few years, he had Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons was one of those guys who performed very well in these last 3 years in that same draft that Jamin Davis was taken in. And he performed so well that some could think that we are about to change Jamin Davis and make him into Micah Parsons. And I think that is the only reason why we still have not picked up this 5th-year option. One, because we don't know him. The new people coming in, they don't know him. And what they've seen has not given them enough information on who the player is. And like I said, it could be the fact that he was playing under Jack Del Rio, and Jack Del Rio hasn't really showed Jamin, hasn't really used Jamin how he should have. So that could be a reason. Or it could be Jamin is just not that good. But now that we have a strong linebacker group that can probably motivate Jamin Davis to be even better, it could probably boost his game even more. But the thing is, I don't see them picking up his 5th-year option only because they want him to prove himself. Because honestly, they don't know him yet. They don't know how he will perform under their coaching. So that's one reason why I feel like we still have not picked up on Jamin Davis, is because we haven't even got to training. And training starts Monday, April 1st, I believe. And that's one thing that we have to really, really see. For new coaches, seeing as though Dan Quinn is a new coach, he can start coaching his players Monday. And it's like they haven't really seen him in person. And it's a lot to see film and to see a person from the opposite side of the team. If you're going against them, cool. You can see little spurts here and there. But when you have somebody performing in your system and your schemes and your ideas, it's way different. You can see this person every day versus seeing this person on game day, or you seeing them on YouTube, on films. Like, it's way different when you hands on with that person. You eye to eye, you can see how they perform, their footwork, leg work, their workouts, the way they talk to people, their motivation, their leadership, their character. So that all plays a role. And then I'm sure we didn't get rid of him because one, they had to see what they had, and of course, him being a first round draft pick, it holds a lot of weight. And I'm not gonna hold you; it holds a lot of weight. So it was one reason why we kept him. You want to see what happens if he performs in our system. And Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. have been doing a phenomenal job over the last few years with the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm excited to see what they have to show for the Commanders. But it's one of those things where just being a first round draft pick really is a position where you have so much pressure on you daily. And I see the trash that people talk about when it comes to Jamin Davis. And I had put up a poll saying, all right, who would you rather trade if you wanted to move up in the draft and you had to give up somebody? And I said, would you trade up Terry McLaurin, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, or Jamin Davis? And everybody, when I tell you everybody picked Jamin Davis, everybody. And that showed me like how much this franchise does not care for Jamin Davis. And it's sad. He's a great person, I'm sure, but it's just something that we do as fans. We don't care about the person. We care about the idea that he was a first overall draft pick. And that's just the game that we in, that they play. But let me know how y'all feel about the situation. Do you feel like we should pick up Jamin Davis' fifth-year option? But I already know what everybody is feeling. But he still has a lot to prove. And I'm not sure. I know he does a great job of getting to the quarterback, seeing as though last season was what, in my opinion, was his best season. He had 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass deflections, and I believe he got to the quarterback. No, not quarterback, but he had 8 tackles for loss. And it really showed. He had 3 sacks too. And it really showed that he can get in the backfield. And he's very fast at it, But it all depends on the system. Because if we can get him in the backfield a lot more, I think that would be a plus for him. And he could probably even get to the bag a lot quicker. By us not picking up the 5th-year option, we can, allow him to start his contract. Or I don't know. It depends on how he does this year. If we decide to just trade him or just let him go. So this could be a make or break year for him. I see it as a make or break year. I don't see them picking up that 5th-year option because they haven't seen a lot from him. This is a huge difference from Patrick Queen's make or break year, and they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. This is huge. If you compare the two, I would have went with Patrick Queen just going off of his 4 years and how he's performed in those 4 years compared to Jamin Davis. You've seen a lot, but like I said before, it can all do with the system that you're in. And that could mean you do so well in this system, but then you go here and you do terrible. Like, for example, I think Patrick Queen, he was an outside linebacker. He performed very well, and he was beside Roquan Smith. And some people feel like he was the reason why he performed so well. But now that he's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's like I believe they're making him a middle linebacker. So that means he's going to have full control. But if he doesn't perform like he did at the Baltimore Ravens, it's going to probably be a huge issue. And we can only see what's going to happen, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but man, I'm excited for it. And I just think that we just have to give it some time. But I don't see them picking up the 5th-year option right now. I don't see that as a thing. It's not a bad thing. It can be good. And it can also just reveal a lot of what we've been thinking. A lot of people have been thinking that he's just not it. But it's all going to come down to how he performs this year. And let me know how y'all feel. And definitely subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate y'all for hanging on. I'm out.